Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our December professional development webinars. Excited to see you all on this morning. Today, we're going to be talking about the vaping curriculum, and this has been a long time in the making. But before that, be ready for in January. I'm not quite sure the topic, but I'm pretty sure we might have TJ talking about his new entomology curriculum that he's developed. So he's talked to me about that for January. So stay tuned. We don't have an exact date, but he seemed pretty excited about that back at fall conference. So I'll send an email about that probably right after Christmas for January. So entomology. So all you entomology people get ready, excited about that. He's pumped up about that. So anyway, back to for today. So vaping curriculum. This has been a long time in the making. I appreciate our program planning team kind of driving this. Our previous grad student, Chloe Creaky, she actually put together a publication about vaping. Well, then some of y'all came to me and was like, hey, we need a lesson to take to the school. And so I was like, okay, you know, how can this be presented? So I appreciate that response. So then I challenged our other grad student, Caitlin, to start working on a way to present it to the schools. And then COVID came. So this happened early 2020. So it's kind of put on hold. But then we were able to actually kind of get it rolling. And so finally today, with Deb Tanner and AgCom's help, we finally got vaping curriculum done. And then I have our new grad students. This is Reagan. Wave Reagan. Oh. She works for the Center for 4-H2 for Rochelle and I. And so she's going to do a large part of the presenting as well. We're kind of going to tag team together to present this to you today. And when we go through this today, some of the activities she's going to ask you to think in the minds of a middle school student, because this curriculum is really for middle school age. We kind of put like 11 to 14, but really whatever you would think a middle school person would be, a student. And so we're going to also give you some opportunities to do a couple of activities and just walk through other slides. We won't walk through every single part of the curriculum, but we'll walk through a majority of it this morning. And I want to give a shout out to our agents that actually helped pilot this and get it off the ground. I see Holly's on. Thank you, Holly. And then Emily Burkett helped out as well. Let's see, where's that? I'm gonna give y'all a shout out. Let's see. Okay, so we had Holly Toohey for sure. Yes, and she's actually presenting this next week. So you can all ask Holly next week how it goes. Emily Burkett, Marsha Hellensauce, Danielle Dinger, Vanessa Hoynes, and Acacia Stuckel all helped out. So thank you, ladies, for piloting this, because we can't get it out without your help. So I put a link in the box right here, the chat box, and that is a link to all the curriculum. There's 5 documents in there. So that's where you're going to go to find this. So you can click on that now if you want to, or you can later. But this is the general Google Drive that you can get to from our new 4-H website. It's under the programs tab, the programs tile, and it says vaping curriculum. So this should be easy for you to get to, know that mystery of where it is. So this is where you're going to go. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to share our screen. So if you can't hear something, sometimes y'all just please speak up that you can't hear or you can't see something right. So. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Reagan.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to start with what's called a Post-it note activity. And what this activity is meant to do is just kind of be an attention getter for the students that are involved in doing this, kind of get them into the mindset of what this curriculum's about. And since we're over Zoom, one option that you can do is called the waterfall method. And so what you'll do is when I say the scaling number is you'll type the number into the chat bar. And how that will work is when you'll just put the number, but don't hit enter until I say go. And so then once I say go, hit your number, and we'll do it that.
And be sure you're thinking like a middle school here.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll say the statement. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to think about it, and then I'll hit go. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being extremely, how harmful are e-cigarettes or Juuls? Oh, go. Seeing a few 10s, a couple 8s, some 3s and 4s. Perfect.
There's some 3s on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so does someone want to tell me why they put the number that they did? They can either do it over chat or turn on your mics.
Lung infections.
Okay.
What number did you pick?
I picked 10.
Okay.
10, 3, it's not as bad as smoking cigarettes. Okay.
Good response, Katie. Yep, not as bad as smoking cigarettes. That's
I
definitely.
picked 8, and I think while it's certainly not great for you, you're not going to drop dead like if you took a big slam of heroin or something.
Okay.
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 Holly says, my friends tell me it's just water vapor and flavor, but they seem not too healthy.
Okay. Holly, what number did you put again?
I put 5. I was in the
5.
middle.
Okay. Lindsay said I put 4, thinking them like a middle school student. They taste good and don't have any tobacco. Perfect.
And then we have Katie Henry. It's not a big deal, and a lot of people do it. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. So yeah, so this is just kind of a little activity that you guys can do to start off the curriculum. And a different way that you guys can do it, so if you're in person with a smaller class, is have a whiteboard set up and or wall, just kind of whatever you guys have access to, putting on a sticky notes 1 through 10 and just posting those on the board. And then when the students walk in, handing them a sticky note and having them write their names on it. And then when you ask the scaling question, have the students come up and put their numbers under, or their names under the correlating number on the board. And if they for some reason can't pick between 2 numbers, that they can just put it right in the middle of it, and then just have them go sit back down, kind of discuss what we did right here, just kind of calling them out a little bit. And then again, just kind of stress that this is their own opinion. Don't put, if their friends are all putting it on a 3 or lower or whatever, just tell them it's their own opinion, that shouldn't be any talking during this. And again, just kind of stress that. And then if you're in a large group, you probably don't want 80 plus kids all hurtling to one wall or whiteboard. So what you could do is still hand out the sticky notes to the students, but have them put the number instead of their name, and then just kind of tell them to keep that number so they can go back to it and refer to it. And then how you can kind of see where everyone's at is you can group the numbers. So if you wrote down 1 through 3, have them raise their hands, and 4 through 6, 7 to 10, and so on and so forth. And then that will create some conversation that way. Are there any questions or anything like that on this activity?
Yeah, and so when you do the 1 through 3, you can just say, okay, somebody that put a 1 through 3, shout out why you picked a 1 through 3 or 4 through 6 or 7 through 10. Then you won't have everybody just, like you said, down there at one time if you have 80 plus kids. So I would do that if you had a big auditorium full of youth.
Yeah,
okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, so the next activity that we're going to go into is an agree disagree activity. And since we're over Zoom, we will be having a poll set up for you guys to fill out. And so I'll ask you an agree disagree statement, and what you'll do is you'll just hit agree or disagree, and then we'll discuss those questions as we go on. We'll only do a few of them, but there are 5 options for you guys to talk about. So then the first sentence or statement is vaping is just water vapor. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Remember to answer this as if you're a middle schooler too.
Yep. So I'm seeing a lot of disagrees. Oh, some agrees. Okay. Seeing a lot more disagrees. Perfect. So as you can see, there was a lot of disagree and agree. I can't really see who put what answer, but does someone want to kind of speak up about why they put what they put? Teresa, why did you put agree?
I pretty agree, because when I'm at home, I use like flavoring in my water, and kind of the same thing with the vaping. Just a flavor added.
Okay. I had a little we had trouble hearing you.
Oh, just a second. I have my mic up. I said, well, I have those flavorings at home where you squirt them in the water, you know? So I
Yeah.
kind of thought, it's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Just doing a water vapor.
Okay. Okay, and so then we'll move on to the next one. All right. Vaping can lead to smoking cigarettes. Do you agree or disagree? And again, think like a middle schooler. All right. I'm seeing a little bit disagree, or we're kind of in the middle a little bit. Okay, again, does someone want to kind of share their thoughts on why they put what they put?
Okay, when you're thinking about a middle schooler, I'd say I disagree because they're not the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
And see, I was like, I disagreed with it because it's like saying that chewing tobacco will lead you to smoking or smoking will lead you to chewing tobacco. It's just a different form.
Yeah, I think like for me, a lot of people vape so they don't smoke.
Okay.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
that's what I hear a lot is that I vape because I don't want to smoke cigarettes.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Perfect. So then we'll move on to our last one that we'll do. Vaping can become an addiction.
No.
Oh, vapes have no nicotine in them. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Do you agree or disagree? Okay, we kind of have a little bit of mixed results in here. Okay. All right, again, does someone want to share their answers?
This is Holly. I can. I wrote agree, thinking as a middle school student, because on those bottles of e-juice or liquid, it says that there's no nicotine, even though I don't know that they're lying to me.
Good point. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Holly. Yeah. Anybody else? This was kind of evenly matched, 12 to 14 on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I quickly looked up vaping pens online, and I had no idea you could find a CBD vaping pen, which kind of goes off this because I was waiting to see if it said anything about nicotine on the packaging, but I said disagree.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. All right.
Perfect. So now we'll just kind of go through the next couple slides that are just more polls. We don't have polls for them, but one of them is vaping can become an addiction. And then the last one, nicotine isn't that bad for you. So this was just one option that you can do over Zoom is do those polls like that. The in-person with a smaller group would be able to have the two papers that say agree, disagree. You can put them on opposite ends of the walls. It doesn't matter which side, just make sure you specify when you're presenting. Have the students all go to the center of the room, and then you'll say those statements. And again, this is supposed to be their opinion, so they shouldn't be talking with their friends about what they're going to decide, and they can go to agree or disagree. And then you can again kind of call out, oh, I see so and so is on agree, why are you doing, or why'd you choose that? And then for the in-large group, what you can do, because again, you probably don't want a bunch of kids just all jumbled in the center of a room. You can have them stay seated and have them raise their right or left hand for whatever they agree or disagree. And or you could have them sit or stand just to kind of get them up out of their seats a little bit for those statements. All right, so next we're gonna watch just a quick little video about vaping, and just kind of gives you a little bit more general information about them.
Okay, can everybody see the video? You can't tell me.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay.
Perfect.
People have been smoking for at least 7,000 years, but it wasn't until the 1800s that cigarettes became the smoke of choice, after machines were developed to mass produce them. 200 years later, in 2003, the electronic cigarette was invented in China, and since then the use of e-cigarettes, also called vaping, has grown exponentially around the world. E-cigarettes are electronic devices that vaporize a flavored liquid. They all used to look like cigarettes, but now they come in many shapes and sizes. Many look like pens or small boxes called mods. What they all have in common is 1. A power source, usually a lithium battery. 2. An atomizer, which heats the e-liquid. 3. E-liquid or e-juice, which usually contains flavors and nicotine. And 4. A cartridge or tank, which is filled with e-liquid. Heating the e-liquid creates a cloud of vapor that looks like smoke, but without a lot of the lethal components contained in tobacco smoke. Many people assume e-cigarettes are safer than traditional cigarettes because they don't burn anything or create tar in your lungs. But it took almost 7,000 years for humans to realize that tobacco causes lung cancer, throat and mouth cancer, causes heart attacks and strokes, and damages the lungs. E-cigs, meanwhile, have only been around a little over a decade, so there just hasn't been enough time to figure out what effects they'll have on your body. We do know that e-cigarettes deliver nicotine just like the traditional cigarettes, causing increased heart rate and blood pressure. Nicotine also has powerful effects on the brain. It releases rewarding neurotransmitters in the brain, like dopamine, and changes brain chemistry. It is a stimulant, making people feel more alert, but when it goes away, people crave it even more. It can interfere with the body's own natural ability to make dopamine, and soon the user needs nicotine just to feel normal. The developing brain of teenagers is the most vulnerable to these effects. The powerful addictive nature of nicotine is so high that it's comparable to heroin and cocaine. Besides nicotine, e-cigarettes contain chemical solvents. When heated very high by some of the new e-cigarette devices, these solvents can be transformed into formaldehyde, which is a carcinogen. It causes cancer. These observations are concerning, but we really do not know what the long-term effects from inhaling these chemicals in your lungs will be. E-cigs contain many other chemicals to generate enticing flavors. In fact, there are almost 8,000 different flavors available today, so we don't know very much about many of them. We do know that some of the butter flavorings contain diacetyl, which is famous for causing popcorn lung. Popcorn lung is a disease called bronchiolitis obliterans, which is basically an irreversible scarring and destruction of the delicate lung tissue that can kill you. Strawberry and other healthy-sounding fruit flavors have been found to be cytotoxic and potentially cancer-causing as well. Vaping devices, or specifically the lithium batteries inside them, may explode unpredictably. Although uncommon, this happens frequently enough that e-cigarettes have been banned from luggage on airplanes. Unpredictable explosions have occurred in people's faces and mouths and resulted in serious injuries, including blindness. With these potential risks of e-cigarettes, the addictive nicotine, the exploding batteries, the carcinogenic liquids, why would any company want you to use them? Sales of e-cigarettes approach $8 billion per year and are increasing. The truth is, tobacco cigarettes kill about 50% of people who use them. So tobacco companies, known as Big Tobacco, need to keep recruiting young people to become addicted in order to stay in business. Here are some actual documented quotes from tobacco executives. "We don't smoke that shit, we just sell it. We reserve the right to smoke for the young, the poor, and the stupid. The base of our business is the high school student. The fragile self-image of the young person needs all the support it can get. Smoking may appear to enhance that self-image. Studies show that when people start to smoke in their teens, they become addicted and stay smokers as they grow older, even those who swear they will never become addicted. Many of the same strategies that Big Tobacco used to hook your grandparents into smoking tobacco cigarettes have simply been modified and are being used today with an e-cig in place of a tobacco cig. E-cigarettes come in candy and dessert flavors like Skittles, gummy bears, and vanilla cupcake, directly aimed at teens. Ads always show thin, beautiful people vaping. Even the strategic use of humor is being successfully used to get customers on their side. The bottom line is that we are all faced with important personal choices every day. We don't yet know everything we need to know to make informed decisions about many things, but we can resist being manipulated. Take your time when making your own personal decisions. It can make all the difference.
Okay, so that's just a little video that we had found and wanted to share with y'all. So
Yeah. Are there any questions or anything that you guys had about the video, comments or anything? Caroline said it was an excellent video.
oh, thanks, Caroline. That means a lot coming from you. Thanks. Okay, so yeah, y'all can choose to use it or not, just whichever.
I would agree. I think that video points out a lot of great points that youth probably don't consider. And adults of like me who don't use the product and have no interest, I don't even know about it because it's just not on my radar. So very well
Right.
done.
Thanks, Katie. And like I like the part it says it ends with the whole decision making. And so I like how they stress decision making, because we all know in 4-H you want to teach you to make good decisions, whether it's vaping or other choices in your life. So I like how that kind of wrapped it up and said making good decisions. So let's see.
Megan?
Holly said teachers love the video. Rachel, yay. Okay, thank y'all for that feedback. Okay.
Megan,
Yeah.
I was going to ask, I missed this part. What percentage include nicotine and which don't? Like most do, but somebody put that excuse, like a middle school excuse that, oh, it's just, you can do just the water and flavor, even though we don't know what's in the flavoring. But did it have a percentage I probably missed of how many kids use it with the nicotine in it?
Well, what we read about, I don't know about a percentage per se. That's a good question, Rochelle. Thanks for asking. But we did read that even though, like, okay, this slide that I just put up, this is actually the next slide to talk about. So it says 0 milligrams on here, and Holly, too, also brought this up too, that even though it says 0 milligrams on there, that they can put whatever they want to, because these are not FDA approved. So even though they're saying no nicotine's in there, there still could be, you just never really know. Like they can advertise however they want to, because they're not FDA regulated. Does that make sense, Rochelle?
Yep, thanks.
But the other percentage, I'm not really sure about that, but we can look into that.
Yeah, we'll look into it. It's probably hard to find out just because it's not FDA regulated, but I think I have heard of people saying that it's just water vapor and stuff, but yeah, I don't know.
And I feel like if you want to talk about like gateway smoking, like starting with these and thinking about like, oh, it's not going to hurt me, it's just this and this because I can fit in, then it'd be, in my opinion, much easier to jump to a vape with nicotine in it than and be like, oh, it still tastes the same, it's not going to hurt me, it's fine. Because how often do we do things that we don't think about long-term consequences as adults more often, like not even thinking about what kids do, like how many adults go and binge eat candy or drink too much or something like that, knowing fully well this is going to happen, but you do it anyway. So I think if you want to talk about like gateway smoking, this might be the easier jump.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks for sharing that, Chelsea, too. That's a good part that you could add to it when y'all are presenting this. So I appreciate you sharing that. So on this slide, this is an opportunity. I'm not gonna be teaching you this because all the notes are there for you. But basically, this is an opportunity for you to show some pictures of some vape juice, some different things that youth might see in the store. So if you look at the picture on the right, that looks like to me like Sour Patch Kids. And so this is an opportunity for you to talk about the FDA and how these are not regulated, even though they put 0 milligrams. That's not necessarily true. There's good smelling ones, all these fun flavors out there. They're really advertising to youth. And so true story, a couple of weeks ago, Rochelle and I were actually driving out to Stanley for our volunteer training. We stopped at one of the gas stations, I think in Minot, and we had both walked in, and by the counter, there's all these vape juices and vaping devices. And we're like, we noticed one had like SpongeBob SquarePants on it. And we're like, wow, they're really marketing to our youth. It was even placed like on a lower shelf where they could see it, kind of like they do, you know, youth cereals, child focused cereals. So it's like, wow, this is really targeting our young people. So it was kind of an aha moment for Rochelle and I. And, you know, you can't even buy them when you're that age. So we're just like, wow, this is really hitting our children today. So, and so Caroline said, I really want to show this video to my children, but I'm actually worried they're going to see the word candy, and that is all they will remember. Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then this next slide here, this gives you an opportunity for you to actually let the youth look at different things that are on a desk and maybe try to identify the different vaping items. So can anybody open their mic and tell me what they see, what they think is a vape device or a vaping item here? There's 6 in this picture.
In all honesty, I don't see a single one.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Rebecca
see
said,
one next to, there's two there. One's a gray black and one's a black black.
okay,
Are those two it?
you talking
And
about
then
the top right-hand corner?
yes, top right hand corner close to this blue pad.
Okay, yeah, one of them is that you mentioned, Rachel.
Okay, and then a gray black looks like a juice dispenser to put in your water.
Yeah, like the Mio thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Okay. All right, anybody else want to say anything?
This is Katie. I think the white with the black dot and then the black top that also looks like the Mio.
Yeah, that's correct. That is one.
Yep. And then I think the gray black up at the top, next to the USB and like the highlighter ball thingy. Those I think are vaping devices.
Okay. All right, anybody else want to take any more guesses?
I was gonna say the same, just to the right of the,
Okay,
I think the orange near the bottom center might be one as well.
all right, okay. That's not one, but that's a good guess. Okay, we'll go to the next slide and I'll show you. We circled them all for you. So this is an opportunity for you to let the youth guess what they see and talk about it. Okay, so here is actually the ones circled that are the vape devices. So number one is a black pen. So it's like a black vape pen. That's a vaping device you might find. And number two is like one of those Mio water things. So they call that a drop pod since it looks like a teardrop. Number three, the rectangular device actually resembles a flash drive. And number four, I think Katie pointed out, the black and white teardrop. That's another one of the drop pods next to those headphones over there. Looks like the Mio water. So y'all found that one. And then I think somebody else found number five, the long skinny flash drive next to the colorful highlighter. That's a jewel pen, and that's one of the most common ones that you'll find. Looks like a jump drive to me. And then number six, that's kind of a hard one maybe to find too, but that's actually a charger for a jewel pen. And so that looks like the thing that you put in your USB port to have your remote mouse and your keyboard. And that's what it looks like for mine. That's exactly what I just put into my computer this morning to run my mouse. So those are very interesting, very well disguised items. And I was like, kind of, whoa, this is, well, you can even see it on a desk full of different pens and pencils. So anybody have any feedback? Let's see, Lindsay said, one of the FCC LA members did Hidden in Plain Sight for her STAR event. She set up a mock bedroom in the school lobby during parent conferences. Parents were encouraged to walk through the room and try to find what they thought to be vaping devices. That's pretty cool. And then Sarah Leidy said, does the vaping pen actually work as a pen too?
I don't think so. I think it's just, I think the part where the ink would come out is the part that you would like get the vape juice out of, I think.
And oh, good point, Holly. Holly says she tells them if they were good for you, why do companies make them so easy to hide? That's pretty a powerful statement. So thanks for saying that, Holly. Yeah. Okay, so this is opportunity, another activity you can do with your youth. And then you can show them this picture as well and show some different other shapes and sizes of them. If you see on the right-hand side, the jewel device, the jewel pods, those are the most commonly seen ones. You talk about the tanks, the mods, the pins, the different pods, and the ones that look like the Mio water there. And so a lot of them are disguised, as a pin, like Reagan was just telling you. All right, and then this next slide, you can talk to them about what's in a vape cloud. And so there's all these different chemicals that they're putting into their body. There could be nicotine, formaldehyde, carcinogens, all these different parts. And some just claim it's water vapor, but it's really not. So you can talk about the chemicals and the effects that it could have on their brain, and carcinogens can cause cancer. So you can, elaborate more on this conversation with them here. That leads you into risks of vaping. You can talk to them about nicotine addiction. You could go more into detail about what nicotine is and how it's very addictive and how it can cause mouth and throat irritation, chest pain, raised blood pressure, heart rate. And then this popcorn lung was very interesting to me. And so it was actually named that because it started after popcorn factory workers started having terrible symptoms after they inhaled diacetyl that used to be found in bags of popcorn. And so they kind of coined this term popcorn lung because it was similar to what these popcorn factory workers were getting. So you can talk about that, shortness of breath, coughing, and different things that it can do to your body. And so this is a good point to make to them. Although these devices look fun and harmless, it has lots of negative side effects on your body as well. Then you can talk about how it can affect your brain and how your brain doesn't fully develop until you're in your 20s. We know that. And how it can affect the prefrontal cortex and have effects on how you develop. And kind of a good point to make is 1 Juul pod has the same nicotine content as smoking 20 cigarettes or a whole pack. So that was kind of powerful. So 1 Juul pod, same nicotine content as 20 cigarettes or a whole pack. And so you can talk more about brain development, more about nicotine here. And then this last slide gives you the opportunity to talk about social pressure and maybe like why do young people vape. So you could talk about the reasons why. And then these pictures just kind of blow me away. It looks like whipped cream, cookies, and then Sour Patch Kids at the bottom. And then these pictures of the sweatshirt. So his vaping tube is actually hidden into his sweatshirt string, which is kind of crazy for me to think. So you could talk about peer pressure, social media, family members vaping, and maybe the whole whys, or why are they doing vaping? And let's see, Rachel Wald says, how long does a Juul pod last? It's funny you just asked me that because my husband asked me that this morning before work when I told him I was doing this. And I told him, I was like, I don't know, I never really smoked one, but I guess it's just how long you actually, how much you actually use it. Was that what you would say too?
Yeah, I think it would kind of just depend. Like if you used it once a day, it would probably last you a little longer, but I don't know if once the juice is in the pod, if it goes bad. But I would say the more you use it, the faster it goes out, kind of type thing. And I believe you have to be 21 now to purchase it. So since it is, I think it's thought like a cigarettes and tobacco, so it's 21 now, I believe. So yeah, so it's a lot of kids are still getting it because they're having either buyers or maybe they have fakes or something along those lines. But I think once the laws change to 21. So, but yeah, I think it just kind of depends on the use, how much you use it. Kind of with cigarettes, the more you smoke, the faster they go.
And Rachel said she's seeing you driving around with the Juuls, and good point, Rachel. That's the most commonly found one that we've found. Katie said, can't believe the companies are designing with this and don't have major issues with packaging and marketing vaping companies. Are there lawsuits? I haven't personally heard of any, but I can't say that I normally live in the whole vaping world and stuff day to day. So has anybody heard of any lawsuits out there? Anybody? But that's a good point, because I could see them pushing back about the Sour Patch Kids or the
gummy worms.
Yeah. So okay. So these are just some other slides. You could definitely go into more detail, and it's scripted out for you, but you don't have to read word for word, but there are details in the PowerPoint and also on the lesson guide. So we're going to move on to our review game.
Yeah, so the next thing that we're going to do is play a game of Kahoot. So if you guys have double screens, what you can do is you can put the screen we're sharing and be able to see our questions, and then on the other screen be able to answer the questions that way. If you don't have access to 2 screens, you might just want to play it on a phone or a tablet or whatever you have that can be able to be played on. And then so how you get there is just go to
Did I lose you?
Yep, you did, but you got us back.
Wow. Okay, let me make sure I'm still recording. Okay. Did y'all hear about the Kahoot? Any of that?
Explain it.
Okay.
I just put the link in for all of us
Oh,
participants.
perfect. Thank you. And then, so yeah, then you'll just put in the game pin that we just shared, and then I'll just kind of repeat it again. When on the link that we gave you for the Kahoot, what you'll do is you'll play as guest, then you'll continue as guest, and then you'll play the classic mode. And I will just say that since this is kind of targeted towards that middle school age. I know when I played when I was in middle school, we had people who thought it would be funny to use inappropriate names or like inside jokes. And if you don't want that, what you can do is you can just put your mouse over that name and just click it and it will boot them out. So just kind of keep that in mind, and you are able to re-add them or whatever and just kind of give them a chance. But if they keep repeating, just maybe won't be able to play that game then.
Is anybody having trouble joining? We see some more people joining, so we'll wait a couple more seconds. Any questions about Kahoot joining? Let's see.
And then another thing, just kind of while we're waiting for everyone to join, you can use incentives too to kind of get the kids more involved. So if like the top 3 people can get rewarded. Another thing too is I can kind of just go into the other options. If you don't have internet or the class is very big, you can break the kids into smaller groups. And we did give you guys the printed out questions that are on the Kahoot. You can just kind of break them into teams. If they have access to little whiteboards, give them that, or if they have notebooks and pens and pens, just have them just write their answers on that, and then you can just keep a score that way. And you can also do that option with larger groups if you didn't want to have a bunch of people on, to just break them into groups and have just one person sign in to the Kahoot and just have them make a team name. That's just a couple options for you guys. Again, kind of tier it towards whatever is easiest for you and whatever you guys have access to.
And we're not really sure. You might only hold like 50 people or so in Kahoot, so I'm not really sure what it'll be you off with. But a team option is you could do teams of 5 or whatever, and so each team could answer if you want to use just one link for Kahoot and not create a second game or anything like that. So that would be an option. You do teams, and also that would limit the number of people that are signed in as well, and so make it easier to see, okay, this team won, and first, second, whatever. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started now. Ready?
Yep. Which of the following is not found in vapes? Good job.
Uh-oh, Holly's in lead.
Which of the following is the name of a vaping device? Jewel pod is the right answer. Ooh, we had some lead changes. What part of the brain is most affected by nicotine? Prefrontal cortex.
Good job.
When popcorn first started when blank were getting ill from diacetyl inhalation. Popcorn factory workers. Which of the following is the most influential reason for teens starting to vape? All the above. True or false? The best way to prevent vaping related illnesses is to say no to vapes or quit using vaping devices. True is right. Good job, everyone.
Like Holly's still in the lead, looks like.
What is a side effect from using nicotine products? Good job, all of the above. What kind of batteries are used in vapes that are known to blow up? Lithium. True or false? Vapes were first created in Australia.
This comes from the video.
Yep. It is false. Uh-oh, Shonda took the lead.
Uh-oh.
Who are tobacco and e-cigarette companies recruiting to use their products? Teens, correct. Oh,
Holly jumped back in the lead.
all right. We are always faced with tough decisions. What can you do to help make healthy decisions? Correct. All of the above. All right. Good job, Katie and Holly.
Shanda.
Woo!
Okay. Good job, ladies. Okay, and runners up, Mighty, somebody, and Lindsay. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for playing that with us, y'all. So I'm sure a lot of y'all have played Kahoot with your youth, and also I'm sure they've done it in school. So this is just another opportunity for you to review with them. And the answer to the one about the Australia one was where they started in Australia. It was really China. So that's actually the video. Okay.
All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to revisit that Post-it note activity. So if you can kind of remember what you guys had put on your number, and then this is just a kind of an opportunity for people to change their answers if they want to, or if they want to keep it the same. Again, don't hit, we'll do the waterfall method, so don't hit enter until I say so, but I'll restate the statement on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being extremely. How harmful are e-cigarettes or Juuls? And then ready, set, go. Seen a lot of higher numbers, a lot more 10s, some 8s. Perfect. So if you changed your number, why did you change it?
Somebody want to share why they changed their number or put in the chat box? I'm gonna ask Caroline. Caroline, you have a 10 here. What did you have before?
I joined late, so I didn't have one before.
Oh, okay. Okay. What about Teresa? Did you change yours?
No, I did not.
Okay. Okay, Jeannie stated a 10. What about Annette? Did you change yours?
She said no.
Okay.
Rochelle stayed out of 10.
Okay.
I'll speak up. This
Okay.
is Katie Henry. Well, you told us to think of it as like a middle school student, and so I had 3 to start with, and then I put it at an 8 the second time, and that's because I think middle school students would think that it's not as dangerous until they see all that information, and then they probably would be shocked. But I don't know. I think some of them maybe would put a 10, but I honestly don't know if they'll jump all the way to 10 because they're still going to know people that they love and care for being
Right.
users of vape. So.
Right. I appreciate your comment, Henry, Katie. I know that you come from a school counselor background too as well. So I appreciate you sharing that. So good point.
And I'm a parent of a 14-year-old boy, and he's asked me about vaping, and he's like, well, I don't understand why it's bad for you. And I said, well, we don't have enough research to know what the long-term effects are, but I think the video would totally speak to him and his buddies. Like, I'd love to show it to his whole hockey team before practice sometime and just say, what do you guys think of this?
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing. Yes, I know your parents of teenagers. I really appreciate y'all weighing in for sure. So.
Katie,
Okay.
I would just mirror that. Like with my kids, they know a zillion kids who are using it. And that's what shocks me is like the athletes when like they're running in your lungs, you need all the capacity you can have, and yet they're putting these things into their bodies and it's compromising them. Like my son a few years ago came back from football practice and said there were a couple of kids that were really struggling, and I'm like, and they had never before, and I'm like, yep, I think I know why that is. You know, I mean, those are the things that it's like we just don't know all of the impacts.
Right. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Along those same lines for athletes, I remember coaches telling kids in high school, when I was in high school, you know, don't drink pop, don't do this, don't smoke, all of that. And it was kind of a requirement of being an athlete at the time. I'm wondering if they do that now.
Yes. I was on the track team at Northern, my undergrad, and a lot vaping I think just kind of had started coming out more popular, I guess, and a lot of our like star athletes were just in the dumps. Like they were really struggling, they couldn't breathe in practice, so I think it had a big impact, and they were like, I couldn't possibly think of why I'm struggling running right now. So I was like, well, I wonder if it's because you're using vapes. So
I have one question. How long did it take to get through this curriculum in schools with students?
We think it'll take about 45 minutes, but then you could also like pull it out longer if you wanted to, or leave out a few things if you wanted to, Katie. As soon as we finish this last slide, I'm going to bring up the actual document so you can see each piece that's in the file, and I'll kind of tell you like how long, you know, there's extra stuff in there for a longer presentation, or you can leave out some things. So what we said, around 45 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so this is just kind of the wrap-up discussion. So this is just going to be a Qualtrics survey for the students that took it. And so there's a QR code if they have phones available, or if you don't have access to the internet, we will have like a paper copy available for you. And just know that all of the results will get sent to the Qualtrics R account. So if you need any of those results or want any of them, just let us know, and we will surely share those results with you. Just let me know what school they are. So kind of just stress that they put their location so I know who's what and what to kind of look for with that. And then this is also just another option for you guys to put in your own information and stress the local information that you know about, just anything else that can help. Some of these links here are also kind of teetered towards kids that you know who are trying to quit, but just need the resources or help on how to do that.
So now that kind of concludes our presentation for all the information. Now I'll just kind of go over the different parts of the curriculum that we have, so you be sure to know like what is all out there for you. So I'm gonna put back in the chat box the link to the Google Drive that where the information is. Like I said, it's on our Google Drive that you can get to from our new 4-H website under programs, and then it's a tile that says vaping curriculum. So in there, there's 5 different documents. So you're going to find this PowerPoint as well. And so you can download it as like, you know, Word or whatever, or Microsoft, and just, you know, save it to jump drive it. If you want to edit it, you can delete a slide, add something you find new, you know, whatever you need to do. So it's very editable. You can edit it to suit your own needs. Okay, and so Reagan mentioned that there is a paper copy participant evaluation. These are the same questions that are on the Qualtrics. So if you want to print these out, you can. You don't, if you feel more comfortable that way, and if you want to send them to Reagan or myself, we can enter it in for you in Qualtrics. So there's your participant evaluation. And then we also have a lesson plan. And Katie, this says time needed 45 minutes. So that doesn't really include your prep time. And inside this lesson plan, you'll see on this very front, it says complete a presenter evaluation. So if y'all do go into schools and do it, I appreciate it if you did fill this out from your perspective, just to help us know. So this is the presenter evaluation. And then this is 6 pages long. You see it has all the thumbnails of all the slides, and the part in italics or stuff for you just to kind of read, but the stuff non-italics, you could actually say that. But I know all y'all are wonderful educators, so you don't have to read word for word. I'll just give you an idea of things to say, but I definitely encourage you to put your own twist on it and add information that you've also found or things that might be pertinent to your own community. So I think that's really important to put your own local flavor on it from what school you're going to be presented at or the group you're going to. So I'll just click through here. There's the video link we went through. And then we also have, there's a Kahoot link on here as well. So there's the Kahoot link for you to use. And like we said, you can enter as a guest. You don't have to create your own account there. And then this is the evaluation link for the youth. So the one on the back, this last page is the youth one, and the front page is the presenter evaluation. So that's another piece you can use, your lesson plan. And then this is your activities handout. And this is what I was alluding to a minute ago, Katie. So there's different, all these questions are answered within the presentation. Like number 5, a Juul pod has the same nicotine content as. They could put, 20 cigarettes or 1 pack there. Number 6, nicotine causes significant impairment to the brain. So all 7 of these questions are answered in the presentation. And so this might give you a good way to judge how much they learned or if the teacher needs this as well. And I encourage you to, use the Qualtrics one too, because that also can help you write your impact statements if you want to use that in your county for reporting you do for your district directors as well. So then after this first page, we have talk about social, physical, emotional, mental health, ways for them to kind of brainstorm ways to be healthy, these different parts of their body. And so this kind of encourages the wholeness, wellness pieces as well, not just focusing just on like vaping or what that might do to your body. So this is a piece you could add to it if you need a longer presentation, or you need to keep them occupied, or you give this to the teachers to do at a later time. Ways to say no to vaping. So in red is what peers might say, and then on the right-hand side gives them opportunities of things they could say in response to their peers. Okay, our 4th page is vaping facts and myths. So they can circle the facts and cross out the myths. Another little worksheet if you wanted to do that one with them. Then we also have a word find, some terms that we also talked about throughout the presentation. They can circle those. And then finally, the crossword puzzles, and those are also answered within the presentation. These questions are all things that you should have gone over. So those are 6 pages that you could use with them. And if you only use one, I would encourage you to use that first one on the content questions. So that is another piece you have. And then we also have an answer key for you. So you can look at the answers. So here's our answer key. Those are the first questions here. And we have the facts and the myths, and then we have the word find and the crossword puzzle. Now we don't have anything about the little guy with the wholeness, wellness piece, because that's just a brainstorm activity. So you'll find the evaluation, the answer key, the handouts, the lesson plan, and then the whole PowerPoint inside the Google Drive is what you'll find. So like I said, feel free to put your own spin on it. If you add information, that's wonderful. And you can edit to suit your own needs. But this will hopefully give you all a start to get out there in the schools and talk about this important topic that I've received a lot of feedback that there needs to be a lesson on that. And don't forget, there's also a publication out there for this. That's how this whole started. That's if you just search for vaping under my name, you'll find that on our website. And then our last thing I'm going to show you is the Qualtrics. So this is just a preview of the participant evaluation. If you want to, use it on Qualtrics with the QR code or the link. So,
Rebecca, I believe, yes, it's already in the Google Drive, the source to the folder.
So that's the participant one if you would like to use that. And there's also a presenter one as well. So I'll stop sharing now and see what other questions do y'all have. And so yes, Rebecca, it's in there. I'll put the link in there again. So if you click on that, you should be able to get right to it. If y'all can't, let me know.
Are you going to add that document that led before this to this, is what I meant?
Oh, good point. I can put that in there as well. You're talking about the publication. I didn't think about that. Yeah, we'll add that. Add publication to drive. Okay, thanks for suggesting that. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. And that publication is more geared to like adults or teachers. So I know Holly's going to go present next week. Does anybody see? I know I heard Katie Thompson said about the hockey team, her son's hockey team. They could show the videos. So you'll have to let me know how it all goes. So I hope this is used, and I hope you use parts of it or pieces, or you may not have time for the whole 45 minutes, but you could use pieces of it with your youth. Any questions?
No, I will say my last year that I was teaching, our public health came in and she did a similar presentation, but this looks so much more engaging for that middle school population. So thank you for all of the work that you collaboratively put into this, because I'm going to share it with her and say, let's do this together, and just form a partnership there to impact our youth. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, Katie. Thank you for that feedback. I really appreciate that. And I'll have to give it to my grad students for doing the interactive part of it and the Kahoot and the those pieces. So it was definitely not just me. It was definitely a team effort around here. So in a long time, and just it was time to get it out. So let's see, Bethany, would this be a chance to partner with someone in healthcare? My sister-in-law is a respiratory therapist and has been in schools talking about. Yeah, definitely. And Katie mentioned partnering. So yes, we always encourage partnership with Extension. Not only does it get us to know those other stakeholders in our community, but we're not going to be duplicating efforts as well too. So I definitely encourage any type of partnership that you can have. Or if you don't want to give this presentation, you could give it to one of your teachers or the counselors to present it. So it's definitely out there. It's not just, you don't have to be trained or an agent to give this. A teacher could definitely give this. Let's see, Verica's going to pitch it to your schools. Oh, well, thank y'all. I appreciate all the feedback. And so we'll get that added to the drive. And also, if you see anything else when you're presenting that's needed, just let us know, because we can add or change things as needed. So yeah. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining today, and hope y'all have a happy holidays coming up. And I'll get back with y'all in January, hopefully with TJ and entomology is what I'm hoping for in January, kind of later January. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Megan.